Hello and welcome to Survivor JJC. My name is Colleen.
I'm Jamie.
And I'm not Jack.
Welcome everybody to the show. So we are recording a little bit late today, a little bit late this week. We are joined by the wonderfully wonderful Elena filling in for Jack. She's got 15 times the amount of hair and is going to give us 1,000 times the amount of commentary. So here we go.
Yes. So, okay, does this mean that we're not going to get an email from you this week? Because, like, I don't know, that would be pretty fun.
I thought about it. I did, but Inception, too crazy.
This is a very female-heavy Survivor JJC episode. I guess this is Survivor EJC. JEC? Yeah. Survivor Jack this weekend?
Jack.
Anyway, thank you for joining us, Elena.
Honor to be here.
She throws some of the best Survivor watching parties in town. I drove Shandy to the airport earlier, and we were talking about like Survivor meetups in the area and whatnot. And I was just like, well, you know, I could go to Survivor meetups, or I could just go to Elena's very fantastically fun parties for free. So, because they are the best. When I told Zach you were joining, he was like, remind her that I beat her in Battleship 5 times.
Next time.
Don't forget who the real winner here is. That's funny.
It's Elena. Anyway, we are here to talk about episode 5, which was called Stop with All the Newness. We are joined live in the chat. I see Janie is here, Kayla is here, and Janet is here. There's a whole bunch of other people that are showing up as viewers, but make yourselves known. Hello.
Come say hi.
Yeah, so what did you guys think of this week's episode? Gio went home. It broke my heart just a little bit. I was really sure it was going to be Cassidy because we have barely seen anything from Cassidy.
Yeah. And also, I realized a day too late that Gio is just adorable.
Oh, a day too late. I realized that on like day 1.
I didn't realize how adorable he was until he got all of this airtime. And then I was like, aw. Bye, adorable little guy.
A belated happy birthday to Jamie, whose birthday was yesterday.
It was. I'm celebrating with a cake flavored beverage.
Oh, what does that even entail?
It's a pineapple upside down cake. So it's got cake flavored vodka with pineapple juice and grenadine and cherries. It's pretty great. Pretty good stuff.
That's pretty good.
If you're into that kind of thing.
So yeah. Gio went home. We got a new variation of Ship Wheel / Risk It All Island with the kayaking or whatever it was, rowboating, pontooning.
Yeah. That was a really awkward boat.
It was, but I appreciated them attempting to switch it up a little bit.
They were trying so hard, and then they just kept like turning to the side, so they were getting like the full attack of the waves. I'm like, get that boat turned around. Yelling at them as if I were Jeff. Like, get it turned around. This is Survivor, people.
So did I miss something? Did Ryan throw the challenge or?
Yes, I was wondering the same thing. I thought I heard him say that on the first watch. And then I was like, did I hear that right? And then I rewatched it and confirmed that he intended to throw it or he was disappointed with his performance and he claimed he threw it. But in confessional, he definitely implied that he threw it. so that
Right.
they can get Cassidy out.
Okay, yes, which is stupid
Yep.
Yeah,
because
he had a lot of really unfavorable moments in this
Yeah.
episode.
Love him, but gameplay this episode not so great.
yes, because especially in like now Survivor, you never know what outside factors are going to factor in. Like
Yeah.
if he hadn't gone to risk his vote and come back and told the one person with an idol that his advantage was stealing an idol, like there's yeah, you can never you
Now,
gotta
okay,
play for like new twists versus like it's always stupid to go to volunteer to go to tribal. It's
you
always stupid. But
you yeah, and everyone's got to stop sharing all the information. I know that this is new Survivor, and they always say, "Oh, we're going to talk. This is new Survivor," and like everybody's honest, and it's like, okay, yes, I get this, but on the same notion of everybody being honest, you know what's also not a factor in Survivor anymore? Loyalty. Like it's not a thing anymore. It doesn't buy you votes. It doesn't impress people because ever since we started with this like varying voting block thing that we do, loyalty isn't, I mean, you change who you vote with practically every other episode. So yeah, like you don't need to be honest about everything. You don't need to be upfront. Lie. Tell them you didn't get anything. For the love of God, just lie. Like
well,
somebody
even if
lie.
you are in a loyal group, lie.
Yes, yes, yes. You have alliance members, right, that go all the way to the end with each other, and sometimes they still lie to each other because you need to get the game going forward.
But
Well,
also,
look at
don't lie
Gio.
like Gio.
Right.
No,
Gio,
like-
he was the only one who relied on loyalty, and he's the one who went home because he told one person, Carla, and
Yep.
she felt threatened, and end of story. So
But he also like was like so like he prided himself on like he had this big elaborate story about risking his vote and it like turned upside down. And then he came back and was lying. And you're right, the one person that he was like, I'm gonna tell you the truth. It was like
Yeah. Yeah, it's been the fatal flaw of many a game over the last like 4 to 5 seasons. It's just like if you tell somebody else that you have something, you will either go home this week or next week. And at some point I can't really think of anybody's game where they're like open enough to tell people what they have and they make it very far. It's just you can't do that anymore. You just can't because the loyalty thing it's not a thing anymore.
we're
It has to stop.
skipping ahead to the adventure, whatever it's called, where the
The adventure. We're going for an adventure.
When they came back, I noticed again on the second watch that Jeannie checked her answer before she shared it with everyone, and I was wondering if had she gotten it, if she would have held it to herself versus divulge it to everyone. Is there an advantage to her keeping the advantage when she gets it to herself, but knowing that she hadn't gotten it, sharing that with everyone else, knowing that she also now has an idol?
right. I think the play here, because when you come back, they've seen the first, at least they saw drop the 4, carry the 1. They didn't see all of 42 before they left.
Right.
But like, as we go on and they keep these, stupid risk everything twists going, I think the play here is to come back and be like, I'm going to find out at tribal and just leave it at that.
Yeah. But I think that the very first group of people that get sent away to go do this challenge to their shipwreck, whatever, they kind of set the precedent for the rest of the game, right? So if they come back and they're honest, then everyone kind of feels the pressure that they have to because now, the first person showed proof and they talked about it, and now my story has to match theirs, and I can't hide anything. So boo on the first people that come back and are honest. Boo on them. This is their fault.
They ruined it for
I don't know, because the people that come back second could also just read them for filth.
Yeah, like, oh, we did something completely different, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even this time, like they legit did something different. And if he had even, just been like, yeah, we took a boat, we took a pontoon, we did this, and they said we'd find out at tribal. Like that's something we've seen happen in previous episode seasons or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the safest, just like punt it just a little bit, because then at least
Right.
you have the chance of surviving.
Yes. And
at
you get the
Bible.
chance to feel the energy at camp and kind of gauge like where you might need to talk about this. So it might not be key for you to talk to your number one alliance member about it. That might not make a difference one way or the other, but it might like drastically change the game if you talk about it to somebody who you know is throwing your name out. Well, I have an advantage. I have an extra vote. Like, so they're either going to go like, oh man, we have to shift gears, or, at least you have that threat over their head.
Yeah.
So there is times, I guess, where you can talk about it, but it does get to be so annoying when we have in one episode, it's like we had the whole thing with Geo, and then we turn around and then we have the same thing go down with the Beware advantage. And it's like the first thing that Ellie does is go run and tell Sammy, of all people. like he's
love that. I love that Sammy.
He's immediately like, "What are you doing?" Like he's on it instantly.
I love that Sammy's the youngest person here, and he's actually not acting like the youngest person. Where I actually kind of love that, and he must be an old soul. Yeah, so I am here for Sammy to go far. I am looking forward for that. I still think that I still think that Carla is my favorite of the people that are left playing.
I love her. Yeah.
Very sad to lose Geo, but yeah, I think it's hilarious that Sammy just was like, like, hey dude, we just
I don't know. I have such a tear with Sammy because his gameplay. I don't have any complaints about his gameplay. He's playing fairly smart. He's watching and he's noticing a few things other players aren't really paying attention to. However, I kind of just like want to wring his neck because it's just like he's so like he's such a brat about it, but he's not like. Yeah, he's kind of a brat. He's a little bratty, but
every time he opens his mouth, I feel like, oh, here it is.
Yeah,
where he's gonna trip all over himself, and he doesn't. And I'm happy for him that he doesn't. So
yeah,
here we go. This is it.
As someone who has two boys at home, I don't find it bratty at all. I'm like, let's check.
No, bratty. You kind of feel like this is where he's going to get ahead of himself. And I feel like that's, for a young player, that's usually where they either overplay or get, just caught doing something dumb. And he's been honest. It's at everybody else's expense, which I do love,
Yes,
like,
yes.
Oops,
that's what I said is gameplay.
You did, dummy. I'm like, how is this going to bite him in the ass?
I feel like if he gets an immunity idol, I think that's when Sammy's true colors are going to come out, because he is either going to be like, okay, I have this and now I have the reins, and which way do I want to direct this game? Or he's going to get
immunity.
like, yes, or he's going to get like a really big head about it and like pull the big brother status of having like HOH-itis. Like he's going to
disagree.
You think he's going to play it cool?
I think he's gonna play it cool. I swear to God, I think he's gonna play it cool.
He seems fairly intelligent. He's a little emotional though.
If it's a secret hidden idol, I think he's gonna play it cool. I don't know how he's gonna react if he gets individual immunity, and if he's gonna play King of the Hill. But
that's where I'm thinking he might get a little cocky.
I think it'd be interesting where he ends up when they merge. So, I think he feels pretty good where he is in the tribe right now. He sees Gabler. He knows he's, the target. He sees the girls on the other side. He's really safe in the middle. So he can kind of wade through it. Where he ends up at the merge should be very interesting to see how, how his, how he plays his personality into the greater tribe.
Janet says in the chat, I loved him pointing out to Gabler how Gabler fucked up.
Exactly.
I think that's all of our kink this season. Is pointing out to Gabler how
Gabler, you did it again, man.
And Gabler's like, oh man, I just gave her an idol. It was like, oh yeah.
She got me, man. She got me. She got me with that one.
Yeah, not a whole lot of exciting things happening this season so far, but definitely a love anytime anybody tells Gabler like, hey, bro, you messed up.
Yep.
It's like the dodo music without the dodo music.
I know.
It is. It's its own soundtrack now.
And then
Now,
going back to
I
how
have a
we were,
question though with oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Colleen. Go ahead and finish.
I was like going back to
Yeah.
how we were talking about with Janine and Ellie. Kayla says, I feel like she would have kept it to herself or told the other girl, which I think she means Ellie at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
had,
Yeah, she's an open book with Ellie for sure. I mean, they're not hiding anything from one another, and she has no.
They have so much fun running off into the jungle and being like, the boys are down.
Yeah, they kind of have that like Kim and Chelsea vibe to them.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yes.
I have an idol in my crotch.
Yeah, they really they got to be careful with it, but it is pretty funny to watch them like every chance they get to like run off like little cackling hens about like we know all the things that they don't know.
Janet said Gabler had the Scooby-Doo thought cloud over his head. Yes, he does.
Yeah, I like it. That suits him well.
Going real quick, and Jamie, I know you had a thought. So was your thought related to the challenge? Because I can go back to Kayla's comment.
No, nope. I'll bring it back up in a minute. You're good. You really.
Kayla said I was hoping each challenge would be different per tribe instead of all the bees things.
Yes. Thank you. Yes.
I kind of too like. I really liked, and I know that I'm like the lone wolf here.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Don't you say it. Don't you say those weird things. If there's anything about rabbits in mailboxes, we're out.
The phrases. I'll just say the phrases. I really like that. I thought that was a really cool thing to introduce. I know that that's not a thing anymore. Ancestors saying hi or whatever it was. I always thought butterflies were dead relatives.
Butterflies, yeah.
Dead relatives saying hi. Okay, cool. I really like that.
Maybe the dead dog's coming back to say hi or something.
I get that was not a twist that was going to be a twist for long. So I agree with Kayla that I think that, it was cool to watch it like once, maybe twice, but I don't know. It was introduced so early.
There was too many of the same thing because that little story takes up 10 minutes, like a whole like chunk in between commercial breaks to tell. And it's been the same story practically each time. There's been no massive flip from it or anything like that. And I like it a million times more than the phrases. Simply, I mean, obviously, because the phrases make me really like feel cringy and embarrassed for them, but just a general uncomfortableness. But I like it better because it's like it puts the game in their hands. I don't like the idea of like, oh, I found this thing and I don't get to vote until 2 other people from other tribes magically come upon this thing and do it. I don't like that. It completely pulls that away.
I agree. I like that they have to do challenges. Yeah. I wish each challenge was different.
Yes.
I thought that it was going to lead somewhere. I thought it was going to lead somewhere and pay off last week when they had to invade the camp. And
I was really hoping he was going to be like, give me that bracelet. That's what I'm going back with. Like, that would have been amazing.
Like that would have been badass, right?
I think production just expected that someone was going to hold out on those beads and nobody did. So lesson learned, nobody gives an F about the beads.
Even the people that knew about it and didn't want it to happen gave them the beads.
Exactly. So I think it was just a gamble that they took and they failed. I mean, the phrases got ridiculous after a while, and it wasn't like Jamie said, it was kind of cringy, just weird, didn't have a real place. And and they did it 2 seasons in a row. So we haven't seen, thankfully, the beads an 8th time or 6th time.
That's another thing.
They better.
We got 3 story arcs out of it, right? Yeah. And now we're done. We don't have to hear it every week.
Exactly. Yeah. They have to go back to the water well for some better idea.
I still genuinely enjoyed the weirdness of
Yes.
Xander having to do that every time. And then was it Omar that just like very casually was like whatever it was that his phrase was, and you were like, oh my god.
Now, what if they did something like, if you think about what are the other types of scenarios they could set up to like to throw like the same kind of way they're trying to throw these beware advantages. Like, could it be something where you have to become like a saboteur on your own tribe? Like, you have to do something like when the rice got burned, or like something like that, where you have to do something that sabotages the rest of your group and get away with it. And then like each tribe could have their own
See, now
sabotage
that's a
move they
real
have to do.
beware because,
Yes.
like, if you're gonna Jatia that shit and then
That's gonna
expect people to
really
not
make
vote you
someone
out.
mad if you're caught.
And I think the danger was like they made them do the exact same thing on all three tribes, but if they switch it up and then one tribe has to do something that's perceived as more difficult than another tribe,
That's
then
true. But it's not
everybody goes
fairsies.
up in arms because they gave Gabler a softball, and everybody else a fast pitch. So it's like you sacrifice the boring for the for the monotony of it.
So how bad is this going to go for production when the merge happens and like literally everybody knows about these bracelets being an idol?
Well,
Everybody better
half of
just
them
hide
already
their
know,
bracelets.
right?
Well, because
they're conspirators. Sammy knows.
Sammy knows,
and,
Gabler knows.
Carla knows.
Carla knows.
He knows.
Owen knows because he stumbled upon them right when they found the
Janine,
advantage.
Ellie, like they all know.
Yeah,
They all know.
everyone knows. And if
Like,
they don't know, they
5% of the people left. No.
Yeah, like pretty much everyone knows. There might be one or two people that kind of don't know, but I feel like pretty much at this point everyone's
And what
gonna
are they
know
going to find out now? Ooh, I was dumb to give her the bead. I mean, that's all they really have to lose at this.
Ooh, revenge,
Yeah.
Yeah. Janet says, bring back Rob and Sandra. That was fun.
I liked when they had to sneak into each other's. I mean, maybe that was a little lame too.
I loved when they had to sneak into
I liked it too, to be honest.
When they had to look under benches and find stuff hidden. I mean, that was at least there was some variety, and you had to have some balls to look where you thought you'd get caught. This was just I don't know who's going to catch you on stealing a bead like that, or not even stealing, but just asking for a bead.
Oh yeah.
What are you going to say? Oh, what are you talking about? Anyway.
Yeah, no, totally agree. Like, again, I like the idea. I think it would have been cool if maybe they had been slightly different.
Yeah.
Again, like Elena said, gamble. It kind of paid off. It kind of didn't, in that it was monotonous. But
the first time we saw it, it was great. It was so much fun the first time we saw it. And then the second time,
know if
Cody was he played it up so good. I mean, and there was suspense and a little bit of flashback in that whole thing. They went to tribal not knowing if he had done it or not. So the way that it was just put together, edited together was much more interesting than this. I mean, this time, third time, but the whole Gabler thing out of it was a little bit like,
right.
Okay,
at least we got
to get the Sammy Gabler, like, dodo. Maybe we've convinced ourselves it's not as lame as we thought so.
Right. So. Like the Gabler thing, it was like a lot of setup for a really fun payoff. So it was that. But like as Jamie said, like, it's like 10 minutes for like, 20 seconds of laughing.
Right. Yeah. Right. Now, if they had the opportunity to combine those three successful missions and create something else with it, and you had people that would keep quiet about it instead of telling everyone they know, then that is an opportunity that would be like really interesting and could really shift the game in another direction. But something that production just keeps failing to realize is that you cannot trust that your players are going to play their advantages in the best, most entertaining way. They're going to do what they feel safe doing, because they're out there to win a game. They're not really out there to entertain me. So you have to take and I don't want to have to like compare and contrast everything, but like like in some of the other countries, like in the franchise, where they say, instead of giving this like major twist out in the woods and you have to find it, the twist happens right now at tribal and you don't have a chance to work it out, and it's like boom, it happens right then and there, and it just blows the game apart. And we need something that gets thrown in like that, where they don't have the opportunity to do the lamest possible thing with it, and it does turn the game on its head.
Yeah. Kayla, I wanted some clarification because she did not watch last season. Did they have to make others say a certain phrase or something? So essentially, so there were 3 different clues hidden on the 3 different beaches, and there were 3 distinctly different phrases, and the castaway that found each one had to find a way at like a challenge to work that phrase into conversation, but they were always like the most ridiculous phrases, like, butterflies or dead relatives saying hi, and like something about a bunny
and trees or some,
like a goat on AstroTurf.
Goat on AstroTurf. That was the one that Omar had, which was actually like the best delivered, right?
Nasir, Nasir
had goat on AstroTurf, but like, so they had to like, in all 3 phrases had to be said, so they had to rely on 2 other people from the other tribes to find these advantages or find these idols, and then say their phrases in order to be activated. But the catch was, you lost your vote until you heard the other 2 phrases. So
so they went
for this poor dude
weeks.
Xander from season 41 like made it super far, but like he didn't have a vote for like, after like the first tribal, he didn't have a vote for like 6 tribals after, because it took forever for the 3rd person to find it and say the phrase. And when he did, we didn't see it. It was like presented a flashback after he finally said it. So that was kind of like a fun payoff.
Yeah, but the hard part is that it's like you go that long without having a vote, and then you have to always say this phrase every time you get up there. And the first time you say it, people will be like, oh, that's weird, and it's nothing. But the second time it gets weirder, and the third time it gets weirder, and the fourth time it's really uncomfortable.
As a weird person, I loved it. I was like, yes, socially awkward people like me. No. But I can understand why people would get annoyed with it.
Yeah, and I think, unfortunately, I think that from what we find, like what we've heard from the castaways, like after that season, like Xander, it was, I guess, like, a fairly annoying or something like that we didn't see as like, he apparently really bothered a lot of them. It's why part of the reason why he didn't even get like a chance to win it when it was up against Erica. But we didn't see so much of that. Yeah. But we didn't see that so much, but apparently they were really annoyed. And I could only imagine saying these weird things in his really like monotone voice every single time they were together probably did not help. It probably did not help him at all.
Yeah. Also, he was young and had really cool hair, so like, he was prime for something
hateable.
And he played, and season 41 actually had a lot of older players, right? Like 30s and 40s, like Shannon, and right? They were
all the 20s, yeah.
I don't know. No, I can't remember. I just associate everybody with being.
But I mean, here we go. We got something. We got the beads. It's great. It was really fun to have something different. But it's, again, the execution is starting to run a little bit dry. But what did you think about the challenge? Like that, like our little like skee ball balance challenge thing. That was kind of, I don't know. I would be infuriated. Like, it looks infuriating, so that made it fun to watch.
Yeah, I thought it was fun.
My big takeaway was, oh my goodness, Noelle, what a beast. Like, I saw her and I couldn't think about anything else. I saw her on that rope ladder and I was just like, amazing. I rewatched it. My husband was watching and he's like, oh my God. So yeah, after that's what I took away from the challenge, is just watching her beast down that rope. rope ladder. It
She's
was incredible.
she's tough as hell, and it's like, well, you've gone through what you've gone through, and you realize that, like, you know what, there's still totally life afterwards. And
Absolutely.
she's just like, she kind of goes at every challenge like, what do I have to lose? And I wish that there was a few more people that you can see, like, it you see it in a few seasons where there's somebody, it's like they run right up to the edge of their capability but never cross over, and it's frustrating because you're like, this person's going to bust out second half of the game, watch them, they're just going to win everything, and they're always just right there. And it's like, she's got that thing, like she went through the thing that shifts you from running up to the wall and jumping over the wall. So she's really fun to watch in the challenges.
Yeah, she is.
Now, another question about the challenge.
Oh, please.
Jeff said, we're gonna, we're like, what, you want to see what we're playing for? And like, probably the most important thing out here, the tarp. And I'm like, wait a minute. So for 42 seasons, you have been yelling at us that the flint and the fire is your lifeline, that it is the most important thing. But suddenly, it's the tarp.
Too many people learned how to make fire. It's not important anymore.
I'm like, the tarp, huh? I'm like, wait a minute. I like rewound it because I was like, no, that is not what you raised me to believe.
That's very true. Because don't forget, in this game, fire represents your life.
Exactly. Now, if it had been raining,
represent?
like if we got that montage, where it was like 15 hours of straight pouring rain all night with storms, then you know what? You could have sold me on the most important thing is this tarp. Like, what? What is the deal, Jeff?
Right.
Lies.
So, okay, Gio, do you think that Gio was the correct person to vote out, or should they have voted Cassidy? I personally feel like we didn't see enough of Cassidy to really know her game. But again, that could just be because she's like, you're like second person at the merge vote out, easy vote. So, like
I don't know. His advantage, I mean, in the right hands, that advantage is dangerous. But I don't know that I would feel that Gio was the right hands to make that advantage be really dangerous.
Well, and I mean, Carla has a connection with him.
Yeah, she could have controlled it.
And exactly. So she is one of the possible, she can be on the negative side of his advantage, but she could also steer him towards someone else with an idol and preserve hers.
All she needs to do is look at, okay, who has the beaded whatever, who doesn't, figure that out. And
oh my God. Yes.
And just be like, use that to her advantage. Be like, woo,
well,
here we go. I think that you should go for
that one.
This one. Whoever played game. Jesse, look at him. I know that's an idol. I have a feeling somebody told me that's an idol. I talked to so and so from that tribe, and I think that Gio would have been gullible enough to fall for it, and she could have used it to her advantage. Instead, she took out the threat, which, no hate there, but still, if it's between taking out a threat or taking out somebody that's solidly on your side.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense from what I've seen. It doesn't make sense to me that he was pushed over Cassidy or, Ryan. Now, but here's the thing. This is why this is what I was going to bring up. If you go to the end when he's voted out and it's time for him to snuff his fire, I swear something happened and they edited out, because just go back and watch that last 5 minutes, because they say, okay, what is he? What, the fifth? What person is he voted off? Like the
he must be fifth, right?
Okay. Fifth person voted off the island, Gio. And then it suddenly clips over to him walking over with his, to put out his flame snuffer. And it was so short. And Jeff had that face. He had that face, that face that he has made at other players who quit the game, who ran off the mouth, that I am so disappointed at you face. And there was no eye contact, like this whole like, oh, this is the end of the game. You did good, kid. Snuff, bye. He just went like snuff, bye, and sent them on the
Really?
way.
You think they cut something out, like he had a little bit
I
of a tantrum?
swear something happened. It felt
Interesting.
super weird. It like the energy was not like just normal send off. Like I think something happened.
I didn't notice that. I kind of yada yada the last couple of minutes.
Right? You're like, 10
yeah,
seconds.
I knew what happened. I saw it the first time, didn't pay attention, and then
Right.
the second time I didn't know to look for it, but I will for a third time go back and check that
Yeah,
out.
just go and see if you see it, because there was just Jeff had his like I am mad at you face for sure.
The thing that I noticed, just as a standard, watcher of the show, is that I don't usually pay attention to where we are with respect to a possible merge. And when I saw that and then saw what Carla did, it made sense. She's like, I have the advantage. He has or I have an idol. He has the idol stealing advantage.
Yep.
So I'm his target, not thinking about we're one for us episode, but for them, one challenge away from the merge, where then the whole game is opened up and you're no longer, now you're his ally as his tribe mate, not necessarily an enemy as only his idol holder. And she knows that he doesn't. So I think she maybe acted out of a little bit of paranoia, not thinking 2 steps ahead, but just thinking like, immediate responses, get him out of here, because I feel like my idol is in my game's a threat, or is threat.
Right. And honestly, I mean, she could have gone into this merge with him, and if she would have looked at the idea of, you're not just like his ally in this teeny tiny tribe anymore. You're his number one in all of these people. Like she would have had some really great control. And that's why I go back to the end of the episode and wondering, like, what kind of energy was he putting out there? Because it seems so obvious to us that she should have kept him. And it's very easy from our position because we see the players a little bit better. But like the way she's been playing and been able to read when somebody is like just BSing her, I just feel like she should have been able to nab this. And I think there's more to his personality than we really got to see.
So if he called her out, would production have would it benefit them to edit that out versus us knowing that the rest of that tribe was made aware that he told her about his advantage, and that if he calls her a snake or whatever, realizes that she was playing the middle, if now the rest of the tribe is brought to their, because she's the only one he told.
That's a good point, because honestly, the episodes that we've seen so far have been so like non-dramatic. There's been there's been like light stakes, but it hasn't been like that vigor that we've had in previous seasons. That I feel like if there was like stuff that went down at Tribal Council, I feel like that would be shown, because that is actually something to talk about.
Well, unless there's a longer game, and I'm trying to think, like, if Carla makes it to the end, just think about
like if there isn't just a little bit of cushion around the long term of her story.
Right. Yeah. Does this help their edit at all for or against Carla? I don't know. I'm not a big like edit reader person, but that's interesting, Jamie. I'm gonna definitely go back and watch to see if I
would
run
really
something like that. But
curious to see if you guys like saw any of that energy, or if I was just in I have spent the morning at the DMV mood.
And she would be the only one that he would retaliate against, right? Because
but if he okay, who was it last year when he was like going off about how all these players are dumb and everything is stupid and this game is stupid because he was like starving and cold and not having it. But like, that's one kind of fit to have that they're not going to be afraid to really show. But like I said, if my read is correct, like
I'm gonna go back
look that Jeff, the look that Jeff has is like it was not one of those kind of fits. Like
Interesting.
again, my absolute apologies if this paints a picture of somebody that like none of that
No.
happened. It's just I felt so super weird.
Jamie, are you sure that nobody just farted really badly?
Hard date 2022.
Right?
Because
And Jeff's like, "That's it. I'm sending you to Big Brother. You're out of here."
we're just saying, because anybody would make a face at a bad smelling fart. Even if you're just politely not saying anything, you're like,
And that's
okay.
that's how we send him off. Like if you know, why not?
The flame would have, reacted. I think. I feel like there would have been a bigger explosion.
Moving to the chat. The chat thinks they should have voted out Ryan.
I agree, Janet. I fully believe that he was the one they should have gone after.
Kayla says, I think they should have voted out Ryan as well.
Yep,
His
Kayla's right.
was pointless since he didn't tell anyone beforehand. That was the plan for the challenge to then vote Cassidy out.
On the other hand, Ryan's gameplay
game was a mess.
Totally agree with that. And I feel like that may be the only reason why he's still in there. Like this guy is playing awful. He's not a threat. I mean, he's an advantage if he's on our side. We're tried mates. We can go into the merge with his strength, even though he threw the challenge, supposedly. I mean, that's
because there's different types of messes in Survivor, right? You've got your I don't know what I'm doing mess like Ryan, but then you also have your like I think I know best mess like Debbie and Gabler.
Right.
Yeah. So really,
as Sammy put it, on that game, he's like, "Yeah, I just came out of Chuck E. Cheese or whatever." I mean, whatever he said about Chuck E. Cheese. Who's good at that? I mean,
right?
Skee ball in my attic. I'm not an expert at skee ball, so I mean, it's no one's gonna throw him, vote him out because of that one challenge. But his gameplay was reason to keep him around. Is not gonna hide much from anyone.
Yeah, and also, it feels like that challenge in particular would be harder to throw than to win.
Yeah,
like, I mean, to successfully throw it in a hidden way, you could obviously throw it, but to hide your throw, like, no, dude, you're not an expert. Like, you can't do that. Yeah, I definitely think Ryan going home might have been. I don't know. I would have liked to see Ryan going home after this episode. I just don't gel with his personality.
Ryan, but I also like Gio. I like them all.
You're like, I love all of them. Everybody
season, it's boring. I love them all.
We're having a pizza party. No one's going anywhere.
I agree. Janet says, I did notice that he did not wave goodbye, Gio, or say anything to the group like, you got me, good luck. He just got snuffed and left.
Snuffed. He was snuffed and out of there. Yeah, it was a little awkward, but I look forward to everybody checking it out and see what they think.
Yep.
Shandy just texted me that she landed and she watched the episode in flight and holler for the Women's Podcast Alliance tonight.
Yay! You're gonna be like, it's not right if we're not going.
I will tell her that we are raising the roof for that comment tonight. But also, she's just gonna listen to this tomorrow, so she'll hear
That's true. We should hope so.
Yeah. So Gio was the first male voted off.
Yeah, they've really been like cutting all the girls loose on this. They really have.
I know, which is also makes me feel kind of bad for being like, but I like Gio. You should have kept him and voted Cassidy.
Hey, you know what? It doesn't matter if you're good at playing the game or if you're an annoying personality on television. It doesn't matter what sex you are. That's all equal. Personality, it's equal.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. I mean, Cassidy's all right. I just wish they would show us a little bit more of her.
Yeah, I would love to see more of her. She seems really fun.
So is this like you freak out when you feel paranoid and now we're going to vote you out just despite that. Is that a thing? And have I missed it for 42 seasons? And
I
this is
mean,
the first time.
Right? That was so silly. Like, she was on their team. She was a solid alliance member. Like,
Yeah.
come on,
and
people. That was so dumb.
She wasn't wrong when she, the way Lindsay got paranoid is
Yeah,
one
we're talking
thing.
about Lindsay.
Right. Like Lindsay getting paranoid, that's one kind of paranoia. Cassidy getting paranoid was like really reasonable. And she was like, well, listen, my name was played last week.
Yes, exactly.
And this could go wrong. So what do we do to avoid this?
Right.
She wasn't like, oh my God. She was being pretty reasonable about it. I felt like she brought up good points. She wasn't being like just paranoid for paranoid's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we can, rule out that Cassidy's going to win, but clearly she's probably going to be like, one of your like stereotypical, like, 8-7-6 votes. Not 6. 6 is usually big, but like, 8-7
all she
votes.
needs is like one good endurance challenge, and she's going to rocket ship to the last third of the game.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah. All right. Let's do we want to do tally the votes or we want to do emails? Shandy says
emails.
Okay. Well, speaking of feedback, Shandy, I said, do you have any thoughts? And she said, I'm honestly a little bummed to see Gio go, although they've been preparing it for a few episodes. I'm relieved it's not a 5th woman voted out, though. I am loving Carla's game, and the Bladder tribe is fire. I think she means
Baka. Which shall, I henceforth decree, shall be known from here on forward
as the Bladder tribe. Jack is going to come back in 2 weeks and be like, what the hell is the Bladder tribe? And we're like, don't worry.
You leave the continent for 1 week.
The one with Gabler.
Yeah, the Gabler tribe. The Bladder tribe is fire. I love all 4 of them.
Oh, that's great.
There are 5 of them on the Bladder tribe, though, right?
Yes. Which
is she not like one of the 5?
I love 4 of them.
There's
one
only
of them.
4 of them. You guess which one I don't.
The Gabler tribe there's only 4 on the bottom.
Gabler, Owen, Sammy, Ellie, and Janine. Right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I wrote it down. That's the only reason I know.
Okay.
Well, she's got it in the notes.
We're just gonna let her discover the math.
That's fine.
Okay. No, but Carla, though, I think Carla is strongly my favorite now. Truly.
I really, really like Carla. I liked her in her like pregame bios. I did not realize how much I was actually going to like her because she's pretty fun.
She is super fun. And I loved her shirt tonight at Tribal.
So I heard that she and Jesse potentially went to school together at the same time at Berkeley.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I heard that.
Like in LA, or
I guess so. Yeah. Which I mean, I know Jesse as a Duke person now because that's where he ended up. But yeah, I think that's really interesting. I think they could align very nicely, and I love him too. I really like Jesse. He's
my fingers are crossed that the 2 of them align, because I'm going to tell you on my notes where I have like my winners picks and all of this, my like winner pick for the game, I had Carla's name and I crossed it out and replaced it with Jesse. So I want the 2 of them to work together so much.
Same.
Historically, when there are 2 players that I want to work together so much, they actually work against each other. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, Zach is a big Jesse fan.
Good. Yay.
Yeah, I like him. I was nervous about him first few episodes, but I really feel strongly about him again now. And I like the idea of him working with Carla. I think that would be great for them to align.
It would be fantastic. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed in this fan fiction alliance.
Yeah. But I am very sad to see Gio go because, again, I really liked him. So
maybe when he left, he was like, I poisoned all the almonds. Yeah. Good luck, guys.
All right.
Sorry, do you think next week is the merge or is it some fake merge?
I don't know. Jay texted me because the next week on Survivor, it kept like repeating itself, and I was, like, oh my god, this
Like,
is
I
taking
cannot.
too long. So he texted me at 9:04, so 4 minutes after I came down here when it was supposed to start playing, that it finally played, and he said, looks like merge or something like it. So you guys saw it, not me. You tell me, does it look like a merge?
So
We're about halfway. I mean, we're halfway through the cast. We're 9 and 9, you said, right? We are down to 18.
4, 8, and 5. I don't know if 8 and 13. Is that right?
No, that's 4, 8, and
4,
5.
4. It's 4, 4, and 5.
4, 4 is 8.
So
8
8,
plus
9.
5 is 13. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
13.
That's like merge-ish numbers.
Yeah. It
Short
looks like
season is still weird to me. Like, it still takes a lot for me to figure it out. Like, I can't make the longer season. I miss it.
so. It looks like
Go back to 2 tribes. I missed that.
But maybe one of those like got to play into it, or one person goes off, or I don't know, something maybe semi-merge.
It's got to be this is why I say I feel like it's just got to be the solid merge, because we've got we see the clips that look like, okay, take off your drop your buffs, but then was it it might have been Ellie who was all like, okay, now we're playing Survivor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, now the game begins, which is pretty much the common thread of like, all right, now we're getting into
every merge we get that. It's like, oh bitch, what have you been playing the last 15
like, what have you been doing, man?
Playing very hard non-Survivor.
Just sleeping and making people bring palm blankets to you? She is.
Which, to Jack's credit, last week he was very big on how weird it was that about the palm blankets, and then I listened to Know It Alls after that, and Stephen Fishback was very
made
offended.
Him feel a little uneasy.
He was just like, this is the worst thing you could possibly ever do to anybody, is place a spiky palm frond blanket on them. And I was like, oh my god, Jack was right. Jack was right.
I listened to the review with Rob and Chanel this last week, and she was like, yeah, she's like, like the gameplay part of me, like, I would have just like let him do it and just been like whatever, and like pretended to go back to sleep. She's like, but I would have been like fuming mad that he did it.
Don't mess with me when I'm sleeping. Just don't do it. And don't do it when I'm sleeping in the sand and there's ants on your palm blanket.
Oh my god, we talk about gross. Okay, we got to move on because we're running long. But it was really gross that the ants were all over the advantage.
Oh,
yeah.
No.
Yeah, they were loving it. Somebody was like eating a donut when they were wrapping that up and tucking it in the tree.
Yes. Oh my god. Yes. There's no way not. We came back from like Comic-Con or something one year, and there were ants in the mailbox, and we put like, the ant killer trap things in the inside and took care of that right away, because we were like, oh my god,
tarot time, baby.
Literally disgusting. I am very sorry, St. Jude's, for all the mail you're sending us, but it's going directly in the trash this time. Oh my god.
Not this month, guys.
Not this month. All right. Let's take a quick break and then we'll come back. We've got a couple emails, including one from Mandy about how she met the queen herself, Sandra.
That's amazing.
And then we'll do our preseason picks. All right, let me just write down what time we did this. Okay. Oh, please, everybody. All right, we are back. We've got a little bit of feedback. The first one is an email from Shandy. She says, note, I haven't seen episode 5 at the time I'm writing this. That's okay. You saw it and then you emailed us, so it all worked out.
Shandy from the future corrected Shandy from the past.
I have no feelings about Lindsay either way because they didn't give us much of her, but I'm definitely bummed to see 4 women in a row exit the game. It's truly a wonder women ever win Survivor, taking this season as an example. The game is already lopsided 4 votes in. 5 women left versus 9 men.
That's a lot.
Question mark, exclamation point. If episode 5 ended in a 5th woman being voted out, I'm going to be so disappointed. That being said, some of the most prominent players being highlighted up to this point have been some of the 5 remaining women. Emoji.
True.
XOXO Shandy. That's very true. Very true.
Not wrong. She's not wrong in anything she stated other than not having the knowledge of the current events. Because
Very
this
true.
was Shandy from the past.
But also, like, she is right, because she said there's 9 men left, and I was like, other than Jesse, who is it? Although they're not very memorable. Ryan. I guess we have Ryan.
You got Ryan. You got Sam. You got Gabler, you know.
Maybe we'll go on a big run getting rid of the men. No offense, men out there. The next email is from Mandy. And she says, oh, wait, hold on. The next email is from Mandy.
Mandy. There it is.
And she says,
I was so Victoria, but
Victoria. Where's Victoria lately? She says, so I went to a thing tonight. Well, Johnny Fairplay is not my favorite person. When he has the queen there and at the viewing party, you go. Hey, remember that time that we interviewed Johnny Fairplay and it was so bad?
Yeah.
It wasn't so bad. He just said so many things. Like, I think if we interviewed him today, it would just be filled with QAnon stuff. And I don't know if I would be able to keep my mouth shut like I did then.
Yeah, that was an interview that felt like my spine was slowly being filled with cement. And I was in the dentist, y'all, listening to that one. And I was all like, by the end of it, my dentist is like, are you all right? I'm like, I'm just getting really mad about stuff we can't talk about right now.
I took a picture of myself at one point and I'm just like, I wish I was, I'm so happy I'm interviewing a Survivor player, but I wish I was anywhere but here right now.
This doesn't feel great.
Yeah, I'd sit over Boston Rob even.
I would love a Boston Rob interview.
Anybody but where I am right now. Maybe Johnny Fairplay over Brandon Hans. At least Johnny Fairplay is a gossip, and I appreciate a gossip. Yeah, that's not a man afraid of a lawsuit. Anyway, Mandy continues. Best quote of tonight from Johnny and Sandra agreed. Rupert's balls were the size of potatoes. Well, all right.
That seems legit. I feel like that tracks, and I wouldn't question the reality of that.
Yeah, they all played with Rupert, so cool. I'll post pictures later, which she did if you go to her Instagram page.
Wait.
There's pictures.
She'll post pictures later of the event, right?
Of Rupert's balls. Hello, keep up.
Of the potato balls.
Yeah. Go to her Instagram page. They're there. The episode was meh, but happy to see Carla still running the show, Mandy.
There you go.
All right. Moving on to the tally the vote. Elena, are you prepared for the very big responsibility of making predictions for Jack?
Oh,
you can't possibly do worse than what I did.
Okay, I'm not prepared, but I'll think about it. Okay,
you're gonna be okay. I promise.
You'll do well.
Yeah, don't worry. You're gonna be fine. It's gonna be great. Okay, so as far as
sorry in advance.
Don't even apologize. He doesn't care. Okay, he's literally on his way to Munich right now. He's gonna live his best life for the next 7 days, and we're gonna live our best life driving around his car. So truly, it's gonna be great. Okay.
Win-win.
Yes.
All right. Okay, I'm ready. I got my notes. Let's do it.
All right. So preseason picks. So Jamie said Gio was going to make the merge, and Jack and I both said pre-merge. So Jack and I both get a point. Sorry, Jamie.
Wah, wah.
Wah, wah, wah. All of our winners' picks are still in the game. Although Jack, you could have very well lost his tonight.
Yep.
As
Yeah.
far as who we said was going home, Jack gets a point for saying Geo.
Hey.
So there we
That's
go.
a hard point to earn too.
It is a hard point to earn. So here we are. As we stand, Jamie has 2, Jack has 4, and I have 4. So Elena,
Yeah,
if you could
killing
make a
it.
really bad pick for Jack this week, it would be as solid for your girl. Just saying. Who wants to go first for who's getting voted off next week?
I have to look and see who's left.
I'm looking at my names.
Well, there's 100 men and 4 women.
Well, it's funny. We can laugh, but it's
Kayla's going night night. Good night. Thank you for joining us.
I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna roll with the momentum, and I'm gonna go with Ryan.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not a bad choice.
I had one, but then I realized he has a idol.
Oh, so Gabler?
That was mine. Yeah, I'm going.
That's never stopped me from voting.
I know. Well, I thought that might be actually interesting, but okay.
Hey, you think we're gonna get the hourglass thing?
What?
The hourglass thing. You think we're gonna get that?
No, I think they already said there's no hourglass. I think
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
started
Okay.
the season saying, "Don't worry, you can start watching haters of the hourglass because we're not doing it this season."
Okay, good, because I don't think anybody loves the hourglass.
Nobody does. All right, I'm gonna go with
literally
Dwight.
0% of the people.
Ooh, Dwight.
I'm just looking through the list, and he's just unfortunately just seems like kind of in his own little island.
I feel fairly good about that one too.
Okay.
I feel good about that. I feel really good about that Ryan pick. And I kind of want to go with that because I don't know. I feel like.
Do you feel like if they do merge, I'm not trying to talk you out of Ryan by any means.
No. I would like to be talked to. I would like to do something different so that way we have variety.
Do you feel like him and like Cody, I feel like they might bro it out a little bit. If there's a merge, there may be some kind of opportunity between Cody and Ryan. James and Ryan are already on a tribe. I don't feel like he and anyone else, maybe Owen. I don't know. I'm just looking for connections. Oh, sorry. It's your call. I'm pretending I'm home talking to my
go on
my TV. Colleen.
Do you think Sammy and Ryan would like be buddies, or do you think they would like share eyes from across the room and just throw daggers?
I can't imagine Ryan and daggers with anyone. He seems like such a softie, except, I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
All right. Well, I think it's going to be, I think it's statistically, it's got to be a man because there's more of him.
Yep.
I want to go with Ryan because I think that that's a really good pick. However, I also want to get a point over you.
Here's another thought about the possibility of Owen being in danger because he does tend to work with the girls a lot, and the other dudes might be like, he's our one loose cannon we got to get rid of, and then
that's
have like
true.
a dude.
All right, I'll go Owen. Why not?
I would be really disappointed and super sad if it was Owen.
I like how I'm taking advice from
the 2-pointer. Get advice from me. I'm the winner.
The enemy. You're the enemy, but we're gonna
I
go
think
that
we're all friends here.
We're all
women
friends.
Supporting women in their tallies.
This is.
Why do you think that, Colleen?
The Kumbaya tribe.
Yeah. Janet says Gabler will put palm blankets on everyone if he's voting. Yeah, that's like his thing. And there's someone that's just like not having it, aka Carla. Carla's not having it.
We need to get everyone to read his parchment or whatever has his idol little blurb on it. And like, no, Gabler, you're done. This idol's garbage. Like, they need the entire rest of the cast to convince him that his idol's no good.
Janine's already convinced that he might be convinced that it's no good.
Absolutely. And I'm like, he can read, I mean.
Yeah, I'm like, I thought we covered this when you dug through his bag and then you got ratted out. Like, I thought he. Yep.
Girls.
Oh man. Do we think that it could be like Ellie or Janine coming up next, since they both they have troublemaker vibes?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. That's the thing about Emerge, is that the first vote out on Emerge rarely makes much sense ahead of time, because it's like everyone's coming in new to watching the individual game, like the conversations. And sometimes you see a tribe go in and they're like, they really stick to each other and they're like, let's just take them out one by one. And then other tribes go in and just blow up like instantly. So, or you have like tribes come together and the first words out of one of their mouths is like, he has an advantage. You just have to ask if you have an idol.
I'm looking down the list of women still in the game, and I feel like Cassidy, Ellie are definitely the highest at risk. I feel like Noelle's in pretty good shape, and Janine has an idol. Carla, I think, is in really good shape too, and she has an idol, right? So Ellie's, it depends how far Janine is willing to go for her, I think, as to whether or not she's at risk.
I think Janine might be in the hottest water with the guys, because they've mentioned twice now how she looks like she's here to play to win.
Because of her scars?
Yes, because of her scars. And because she's already gotten under the view of Gabler as being dishonest.
Right.
And so I could see him like sharing that information. But Ellie would be very... like, there's a really, really high chance that no matter how much hot water Janine's in, like, Ellie's going to pour all of that hot water on her own damn feet. So, like, because she's talky, she would, I think she could turn it on her against her very easily.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think Owen, Dwight, Sammy, they're probably, early merge boots. Maybe Janine, because she's playing hot, they could take her out. I don't know. We'll see. It's funny because I really actually truly enjoy how in new Survivor everyone gets equal screen time, not equal screen time, but like we found out like everybody's stories, and they've like dedicated more for us to get to know the characters, and I actually really I like that a lot. So it's somewhat tough to like get because the edits are still the same, but the edits are also slightly different because we've gotten longer episodes dedicated to more people. But at the end of the day, you're still like, okay, I don't know anything about Cassidy. I don't know anything about so-and-so. I don't know anything about this person. So clearly they're not long for this game. And if they are, it's like kind of one of those more like stealthy kind of moves, like an Erica win, like with Marianne.
Exactly. That's what I was saying with Erica. We didn't have much of anything until she smashed that hourglass, like, and then she makes it to the end. But then you were saying like last season,
like we knew a lot about Marianne, but we just didn't get that winner's edit from Marianne. But like, we knew a lot about her. We knew her story. We knew whatever. So like, it seemed like she was somebody that was either going to go big and flame out like Shan, or potentially go all the way, but she wasn't playing the game, and she wasn't given that like strategic brilliant game edit that we could see her going all the way. So it's interesting the way that they're presenting the gameplay and the edit in, I guess, what is this, phase 4 of Survivor?
Yes. They've done so many changes. I mean, all the way down from like challenges and idols. And I mean, it only stands to reason that the way that they want to tell the story is going to change.
I think with the three tribes, it's hard too, because I feel like this episode we saw very little of Vessi, and it felt like, oh, absolutely, they're going to win because we saw zero about that.
And that's what I said to
right.
the
So I'm like,
always...
they can't lose this challenge because we haven't, it took 40 minutes to even show up at all.
And I said that to the kids and JOs who were watching. I was like, oh, well, they're clearly losing because we haven't seen from barely any other tribe.
Yeah.
But
I would love
if they were like the premiere. Vessi was Cody, like all we saw. So we have a little bit of recency bias in what we've seen a lot of, but if you average it out over the 5 episodes, it'd be interesting to see, like, is it balanced out? There were definitely people we haven't seen a lot of, but if you compare it to Marianne could not be ignored. Like, that was her entire story. Her arc was the fact that she went in a huge personality, so there's no way to not notice her. Whereas Cassidy is a little bit more mellow, and like Erica was not a huge personality going in, but they used the circumstances to kind of boost her visibility in the game. And it'll be interesting to see who they are able to do that with here, if they need to. If they don't, if it's like an Ellie, she's pretty much written her own story. She didn't need production to kind of boost her using any hourglasses or
because anytime it's like her tribe, she's in it, right? Like she's getting so much screen time just because it's like she kind of has her either her hand in everything or her nose in everything, and so she's constantly on rotation in our brains. But also another thing that really is going to put more play on any certain gamer is the fact that we don't have that same challenge where they have to say something weird. So, because that was giving those players a lot more time in front of the camera than they may have had if they had not gotten those that beware advantage.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, we will see what happens next week. Elena, would you like to join us again next week since Jack won't be here?
That would be awesome. I'd be honored. Thank you.
Right. 9:15, as always, after the episode is finished airing.
And I have no time for rewatch and note taking, so I'm going to have to be
run right in.
Run right in. But the adrenaline, really, it doesn't matter. The adrenaline is there because you've just finished watching it. So, all right, awesome. So the 3 ladies here tonight. We'll see you next week live on October 26th. Happy birthday again to you, Jamie Jo.
Thank you so much.
So thank you all for listening tonight. Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to join us again, we're live about approximately 15 minutes after the episode finishes airing. Thank you to the patrons, especially the ones that contribute at a certain level, and Eckhart Rickner, Tack from Tokyo, Maggie the Magnificent, and Ed the Creepy Poopy Mailman. Thank you guys so much. My children watched tonight. We are planning on recording a Survivor bonus episode for the patrons tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. That will be out this weekend. The boys are very excited to talk about it. Alex was very sad to see Lindsay go. So prepare for some 4-year-old grievances. I'm just saying.
All right. Well, when Survivor's done, you got to throw them onto the new season of The Mole on Netflix, because my kids are like, next episode. Like, they are loving it.
We'll do that. We also have to do the challenge, which I know ended terribly from what I understand.
Chaos.
Yeah, I heard it was an awful ending, but like Zach is like really into that kind of stuff. So I keep telling him we're going to watch it. But he watched The Amazing Race with Jack and Cindy the other night. So now he's kind of into that. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. The problem is
you're raising him right. This kid is going to go. He's, like as soon as he's 19, he's going to pull the Sammy and he's going to jump into a game and he's going to bring that money home.
He actually asked me, he was like, Mommy, can you go play Survivor? And I was like, but then you won't see me for 2 months. And he was like, that's okay.
It's fine. It's fine.
And I was like, are you sure about that? And he was like, yeah, go win $1 million. And I was like, great. I would be the one that then got voted off first because my kid was so excited for me to leave him. And then he'll go to therapy someday because he'll be like, my mom left me for 2 months and she got voted off first. It'll be a whole thing.
Step off the plane to see this face.
Yeah, right. Anyway, thank you all for listening. If you have any feedback, survivorjjc@gmail.com. Look forward to talking to everybody next week. Yeah, go team Owen gets voted off. What? All right. On that note, bye everyone. My name is Colleen.
I'm still Jamie.
I'm still not Jack.
Bye.